My name is Jeremy Mangwa Aluma. I'm 12 years old and today we're going to talk about evolution in the water and air. So what is evolution? We're going to talk about the shark's evolutionary cousin, the biggest fish of them all. This fish is so big, it is the ancestor of all sharks. We have the fast and only shark in the world that can eat millions of whales, the megalodon. This is the megalodon. The megalodon is the biggest shark in the world. It's so big, it's 100,000 miles. It's wide. Since it's that wide, it's so big, it's bigger than all typical sharks today. So we're going to talk about how and why did evolution take the problems of evolution. Okay, so these big sharks had one problem. Let's look at the global problem. This is Africa, Asia, North America, Amazon, and Australia, the Arctic and Antarctic. Megalodons used to cover all of these spaces. And back then, there was not much land like today. First of all, the land was different. Let's look at Megalodon's time history. Instead of getting more countries, no one was there to see Pangea, a big country with a lot of water around it. Here's the parts of Pangea, how that will one day become the way we want it. So, where did megalodons live? In the oceans of the Atlantic. Here's the oceans it live in. The North Pacific, the Pacific, and Atlantic Oceans. Okay, what does it normally eat to survive? Well, at this time, the only thing it can eat are whales. Yes, whales. It's able to eat a whale. Can you imagine that? Now today we have a whale that eats a shark, but in the past it was all reverse. Megalodons mainly eat young whales. At the period where whales were tiny and not big. Since they were mammals, they normally go to places where the whales normally come up for air. That was difficult for the whales because they are mammals, as we're going to cover more that later. So what made this mega-sized species extinct today? Okay, so let's just look at the smaller cousins that are blamed to this. One of them is the biggest shark, of all sharks, the great white. The great white and the tiger shark. These two species are so different. They each had the father of all sharks killed. So what did they do to this massive fish that lived so long ago? Well, simple. The great white's babies were always the size. Here's a baby great white. Big and fat. So big and fat, it's just a big fat fish. And since it's half the size of a normal, it's half the size of the megalodon, well, we have sharks ready to eat it as a dessert. whites and tiger sharks had the same meal, baby megalodons. They are normally going after the babies of these giant species. Okay, so the reason why there's not enough megalodons is that these fish are eating them. So let's imagine this big sketch is the megalodon, and this is a drawing of it. Megalodon. And these ones are its babies. Let's call them eggs. Normally, great whites will normally eat the babies, but not the adults. And since Megalodon is a small, doesn't have a chance to evolve against their enemies, well, guess what happened? This is the diagram of the sea chart. $678,000 and megalodons used to live at that time. And no other creature besides them lived that amount. Now let's add the two new sharks that came in that time. They shrunk this number to a third of its radius, leaving 67 in the Dimorphodon era, when these sharks migrated away from the megalodon's home. 67 remained of those species. All of them are children, and one of them is an adult. So this is where time goes against the megalodon. And let's check not the megalodon. At Earth's time, after the sharks left a different place, Earth was changing. An icy land is covering where the megalodons live. So the megalodons lived in areas where there isn't any food abundant. Plus, their counterparts thrived in their new home, the other half of the sea, of the Ice Age. This is Earth, and the middle part is land. Separating these two species of shark, the bad news is all the whales are in the shark side. And Meg is already too big to eat normal-sized sharks, normal-sized whales, fish. They were too tiny for Meg. So what could Meg do? It can't go across the side because we know Meg needs water. And it's getting colder. Already the lands are snow and make a half. They have through that snow. Now Meg's creatures that it used to eat are in the shark side. Since sharks don't eat them, now the Meg is hungry and starving. Okay, then let's look at the conditions here. This is Meg's home now. Meg now lives in an icy depth world. Now Meg is a big shark. He's so big, he's actually too big to show you, so the home of his is so small. That's a problem for Meg, because Meg is a giant shark in a tiny world. That's the problem. The ice covered the whole sea as his area. At the shark's area, it's still liquid water. Still liquid water, and the sharks can freely swim anywhere they want.